The wine hit my face before the insult finished forming. Cold, bitter, red streaks sliding down my cheek, soaking my collar like a wound that refused to bleed properly. My wife's father stood there, glass empty, hand steady. My wife's sister laughed too loud, too fast. "Thanks, Dad," she said. "Maybe that'll teach him some respect. Filthy pig." I felt my hands clamp around the chair. Wood creaked. I didn't look at them. Not yet. I stood up, wiped my face with my napkin, and reached into my pocket. One phone call. That was all it took. They had no idea who they were dealing with. It wasn't always like this. There was a time her father shook my hand and meant it. A time her sister called me brother without laughing afterward. A time my wife looked at me like I was the safest place in the room. I met her on a quiet afternoon when life felt honest. Coffee turned into dinners, dinners turned into keys exchanged and futures discussed like they were contracts already signed. Her family smiled back then. They praised my discipline, my calm, my ambition. They liked that I listened more than I spoke. What they didn't like, what they never saw, was how closely I watched. The change didn't arrive all at once. It crept in. A tone shift, private jokes I wasn't part of, a sudden interest in what I earned, not who I was. My wife started correcting me in public, small things, insignificant things. Her father followed, then her sister, like a rehearsal. The first undeniable crack came late one night. Her phone lit up on the nightstand. She was asleep. The name on the screen wasn't unfamiliar, but the message was, "He's useless. Dad's right." I didn't wake her. I didn't shout. I memorized. After that, patterns revealed themselves because I let them. I stayed silent and watched their confidence grow sloppy. I listened when they thought I wasn't listening. I let my wife vent, thinking I was a harmless witness to her justifications. I learned where the money really moved, who owed whom favors, which businesses were built on handshakes instead of paperwork. By the time I had proof of the affair, neatly archived, time-stamped, undeniable, I didn't feel heartbreak, I felt clarity. That's when my mindset shifted. I stopped reacting. I started arranging. I spoke to a lawyer who specialized in quiet endings. I spoke to an accountant who didn't ask questions he didn't need answers to. I moved assets slowly, legally, invisibly. I documented everything. The insults, the manipulation, the financial dependence masked as generosity. I let them think they were winning. New Year's dinner was supposed to be their victory lap. They dressed it up with candles and laughter, but I could smell the contempt under the food. The wine was expensive, symbolic. They wanted me to feel small. When the glass hit my face, time slowed. That's when I made the call. It wasn't to the police. It wasn't to a friend. It was to the bank. I'd scheduled it weeks ago, a conditional release. One word and everything froze. Accounts, lines of credit, the scaffolding holding their lifestyle upright. I returned the phone to my pocket as my wife stared at me, waiting for an explosion. I gave her nothing. "Check your email," I said calmly, to the table. Her father scoffed, her sister smirked. Then the phones started vibrating, one by one. Color drained from faces. Her father's jaw tightened. My wife's eyes scanned, reread, panicked. The room filled with silence thick enough to choke on. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't smile. "I filed for divorce this morning," I continued. "The evidence is attached. So is the audit." Her sister tried to laugh again. It came out wrong. Her father stood up, this time unsteady. "What did you do?" he asked. I finally looked at them. "I told the truth," I said, "and I stopped paying for your lies." The wine stain dried on my shirt. I didn't care. They were scrambling now, calling numbers that no longer answered, trying authority that no longer applied. My wife whispered my name like it was a mistake she could undo. I picked up my coat. "Respect," I said softly, "isn't taught with wine. It's learned when consequences arrive." I walked out before they could say anything worth remembering. Now, in the quiet aftermath, I replay it not with rage but precision. Every step landed exactly where it needed to. No collateral damage, no regrets, just balance restored. They thought my silence meant weakness. They mistook restraint for submission. I didn't destroy them. I simply stepped away and let gravity do the rest. And for the first time in a long time, I slept without replaying anyone else's voice in my head. Just my own, steady, unapologetic.